Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. From the Channel 9 studio, this is Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I am Mr. 33, baseball Drayton number 6. What's going on with you? How you feeling? Right? So what we normally do on a Monday night, we come back and pretty much recap what happened on Monday Night Raw. And so that's what we're going to do. So the first match that we had was we had the LA Knight and the Usos versus Division. Uh We started off this match with a LA Knight started it off. He was fighting Logan Paul, and then they tagged in and out real quick. So you had Logan Paul, you had Bronson Reed, you had also oh god, Austin Theory. And after continuously pounding on him, uh, LA Knight got the hot tag to Jey Uso. Jey Uso uh, cleaned house real quick. Then we started, you know, participants started going outside the ring. Uh, LA Knight got speared through the barricade by Bronson Reed. Uh, Jay was taken out, and Jimmy was left in the ring. Uh, then we see that Jay gets a tsunami from after he gets knocked out by Logan Paul, he gets a tsunami. Uh, Bronson Reed pins Jimmy Uso for the 3 count. So the Vision defeated the Usos and LA Knight. But then we see the masked man with the hoodie. He came in, he delivered a stomp to Logan Paul on the announce table, and then he dipped off as he was chased by the other two visionaries. Well, I'm saying visionary because it's the Vision, but Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. But the Vision do get the victory. They defeated the tag team of the Usos and LA Knight. Then we get to the women's elimination chamber match. Wait, let me make sure. Did anything happen in between time? I don't think so. No, it didn't. Then we go to the elimination chamber match between Bailey, Oscar, and Natalia. Um, this was a different a different type of fight. A shout out to Natty. She ain't fought in it. Well, she fought, but she ain't fighting an actual in ring match before. She was in the elimination chamber, but this is like her match, right? And they all three started beating on each other. Then we started seeing they started whooping on Bailey with suplexes and throwing her to the apron, and then Natty had put Oscar in the sharpshooter. Caleb, happy birthday in 24 minutes. Happy birthday to you. Um, then all of a sudden we see that the Bailey suplex was applied, and then Oscar got out of it, and then they got rid of Natalia. Natalia got thrown out of the ring, so it's really like Bailey versus Oscar. Oscar hits her with the Oscar lock, uh, and Bailey submits to the Oscar lock, meaning that Oscar defeated Bailey and Natalia. That means that Oscar is on her way to the Elimination Chamber match with Rhea Ripley. Uh, I'll give you the rest of the names a little bit later because my mind is just all over the place right now. Um, then in the back, Liv Morgan was asked, has she decided to choose anybody for her opponent at WrestleMania? Then Stephanie Raquel comes in. She starts speaking Spanish. Uh, Dom is there trying to Dom is translating, and then Stephanie dipped off, and we see Liv crying because of whatever Stephanie said, but it wasn't translated to us per se, but it was something very vulgar. So Then we come out to the CM Punk. Uh, Comes out to the ring. He's talking about not making a mistake because he's the best in the world. He's going. It's not Roman Reigns and it's not Finn Balor. Then Finn Balor interrupts, and Finn is like, well, Finn. First of all, Finn comes out with JD McDonough. We ain't see JD McDonough in a while. He's been injured for a while, but he came out to support his Judgment Day brother. So Finn starts going like, man, listen, you ain't the best in the world. You ain't beat this person in Japan. You ain't beat this person over here. You ain't beat this person over there. And Punk said, well, I'm gonna disagree. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm gonna disagree with you because we know that you've been in this little group, and this group has been holding you down. You supposed to be, you was that guy, but ever since you've been with these guys, they've been holding you down. You ain't really did nothing. Uh, so then he turned his back on the people. Well, he turned his back on these guys. Uh, 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 JD McDonough and Finn Balor, and then he just dropped the bike and left. Uh, that was the pick. That was the quick. Well, it wasn't quick promo, but it was the gist of the promo as they prepared themselves for their battle at the Elimination Chamber match. The Elimination Chamber uh, pay per view on the 28th. Penta went on to face the El Grande Americano. uh, this was for number one contendership for Dirty Dom belt, and they squared off. This is a match that I love to watch because some of these guys, you know, well, let me rephrase that. Uh, Penta is the one that's going to fly around and do all of these things. Uh, they both hit each other with their finishing move. Penta he hit a Penta driver, and Americano got up, and the Americano hit him with his finishing move. Then all of a sudden, we see the original American Grande come out and interfere as Rayo and Bravo as he took them out the ring, allowing Penta to do the springboard destroyer, the Mexican destroyer, excuse me, for the win. Got the 3 count, the pin. So Penta defeats Grande Americano. Then after the match, the original Grande Americano was faking like he was gonna take the mask off, but he got pulled out. The two Americanos got out of there scot free. They saved their mask, and they running out. They ran out with their mask. So, but it was a big win for Penta. Penta is you know he's starting to get his momentum and things like that back. So good win for him. Uh, AJ Lee came out, had a little promo. Uh, Talking about she's going, she get ready to fight Becky for the Intercontinental belt at the Elimination Chamber pay per view. Then Becky Lynch came out like, listen, you can't beat me. I don't care if you at home. I'm gonna beat you at your own house, pretty much. Uh, then AJ said, I dare you come into the ring. Why don't you just come up to the ring? Let's have this conversation, or we can do whatever you want to do. And then Becky's like, nah, this is I'm not doing that. This is my time. This ain't your time. And so she dipped up out of there and left it at that. But they're like I said, they're gearing themselves up for the elimination. They're Becky's gearing herself up for a title defense at the chamber pay per view event. The elimination qualifier match was the final match of the night between Javon Evans, Gunther, and Dirty Dom. Uh, this is three different type of athletes. We know that Javon Evans is a high flyer. Dirty Dom is Gunther's a brute, and we know that Dirty Dom he can do a little bit of everything. So Gunther he pretty much dominated a lot of the points of the match. He put Javon in a sleeper hole. Javon got up out of there and put him in the sleeper hole. Then we see Dirty Dom was trying to sneak a match, sneak some things in there, and then they find their way outside the ring. And as they find themselves outside the ring, uh, as Dirty Dom goes out and steals the timekeeper's hammer to ring the bell, Gunther gets it, and then all of a sudden Gunther gets hit with the actual ring bell by Dragon Lee, which puts him out. And then it leaves Javon with Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom puts him with the 619. Uh, he hits him with the 619, but gets out of the way with the Rotier 101. What's going on? What's going on with you? So after Javon gets out of the way of the frog splash, he waits for Dirty Dom, gets up, he hits Dirty Dom with the OG cutter, and gets the 3 count. So Javon Evans is also heading to the Elimination Chamber match. And that's how Monday Night Raw ended tonight. Now, let me just say this. Uh, for those of you that saw the live on Friday, I predicted that I said Dirty Dom would win. No, I said Gunther would win just because of the sheer force that he's been winning. And then I said I would pick Dirty Dom because Dirty Dom was he the Intercontinental champ, put a belt up in the chamber match. But I am very much shocked and surprised that Javon Evans got to win this match. It makes a statement that they're not afraid to put the new people in these positions of fighting for opportunity for WrestleMania. And the way they've been uh, promoting or allowing Javon Evans to get his victories over the past several weeks is something that you know is something worth talking about. Because at the end of the day, like I said, he just got there, and the fact that he won. Not only did he win, now I'm looking at it differently because he got to pin the Intercontinental Champion, which is Dirty Dom. And for the longest time, Dirty Dom had that belt. Well, he got it back from Cena in right before Thanksgiving. But I'm starting to believe that may be the belt that Javon will be going after if he doesn't win. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win the Elimination Chamber match. He got people like Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, and who's the other person? The other Raw person that came out. I can't remember. I'm gonna give y'all the official winnings and stats in a few minutes for both the men and the women. But the fact, like I said, it's 4 participants there now. Because for those of you that don't know, the Elimination Chamber is February 28th, which is approximately 2 weeks away. So you have to really sit back and think, who's going to do what as far as who's going to be a part of it. So we got Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, and and Javon Evans just making it through the night. And for the women so far, we got Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Miss Bliss, and Oscar, who won her match tonight. So those are the 4 participants. There's 2 more spots available. One will be decided on SmackDown this Friday, and yeah, it's going to be one Friday, one Monday, and maybe one the next Friday. Wait, no, that's 4 Friday and then Monday. So next week's Raw is going to decide who's the 6 persons is going to be for both the men and the women. And so far, we got, like I said, we got Punk and Finn Balor going to fight on the Elimination Chamber card for the World Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, and Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Chelsea Lynn, what's going on? Realist, what's going on? So those are the guys those are the participants that's going to happen for the Elimination Chamber. But let me see if I can see who's on the card Friday for the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber matches. I thought I had it. Oh wait, I did. I see it right here. So this Friday on SmackDown, the three participants for the Elimination Chamber qualification match for the men is going to be the United States champion Carmelo Hayes versus Damian Priest versus Whoop That Trick himself, Trick Williams. And for the ladies, it's going to be Kiana James, Nia Jax, and Charlotte Flair. So that's going to be the qualification matches on Friday. Uh, that'll be 8 o'clock on Sci-Fi Channel. Um, but like I said, so those two matches will serve as the number five seedings as far as who will be the winners of those two matches will be the number five, and then next Monday we'll find out, or if I find out earlier, I'll let you guys know who's going to be the Raw participants that'll show up on that match next Monday. But it was real. It was a pretty fast show. It was a pretty brief show to me. They got the business out the way. Like I said, congratulations to Javon Evans. Congratulations to Oscar. They both will be making their way to the Elimination Chamber. Um, like I said, but for Javon Evans to get there, we haven't seen nobody get there that fast in their first rookie year, quote unquote. It's been a while since we've seen one of those type of things. But this kid has been wrestling year round, whether it's NXT, TNA, or Raw or SmackDown. He's been fighting. He's been wrestling, and I guess they rewarded him with a victory tonight and his participation in the Elimination Chamber. So don't be surprised if you see an OG cutter from like the top of the chamber or some crazy thing like that. You know what I mean? Because he's one of those kids that's going. He's only 21. He's very athletic. He's flying around the ring. He might jump off the top of the ring and just drop kick somebody, or the chamber cage and drop kick somebody. So that's the exciting part of watching a Javon Evans in a closed surrounding like that. But he will be going against some guys. We know Randy Orton can catch somebody out of the air with an RKO, and then we got Cody. He gonna try to do his little Cody cutter thing, and LA Knight might hit him with a BFT. But we still got two more spots to go. For the men and the women, like I said, I just announced the participants for Friday. But since I'm doing that, let me go ahead and just predict. I ain't do too well with my predictions. I said I think I got Oscar right, and then I lost the Gunther thing. So for the women, I'm going to pick Charlotte. I'm just picking Charlotte off the top. And for the men, I'm going to. Will they do that? I'm gonna go with Trick. I don't know why I'm going with Trick, but I'm gonna go with Trick. I think some people are tired of looking at Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes. Somebody gonna get in the way just because Miz might get in his way just because y'all know Miz is a hater. He want that belt. So that's who I'm picking. I'm picking Trick Williams and I'm picking Charlotte to win the Elimination Chamber. Uh, the qualifying matches on Friday. There'll probably be some more matches Friday. They haven't announced it, but when they announce it, I'll know. You know what we do over here. Um, so that, like I said, that was the gist of what happened on Raw. Uh, Nothing spectacular happened really, but I'm gonna touch on the All Star Weekend because I know a lot of people they watch some of it. Uh, I'll start with the All Star Saturday. The All Star Saturday started with the 3-point contest, and I said Devin Booker was going to win. I was wrong because I did not expect a man that was recovering from an Achilles tear to win that 3-point contest. Who I'm talking about? I'm talking about Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard hasn't played basketball this entire year. My 33 brother, what up though? He didn't play for the entire year. He hasn't played at all. but he was shooting that basketball like everything was finely tuned up. And I was looking like, damn, can you really just do that off of ACL? Because y'all know if you jumping on an ACL, you worried about landing, how you gonna land, and things like that. He just went out there and shot that basketball like he was doing, like he didn't lose a step, and I was kind of shocked. But it was for me it was incredible because normally we know people that it takes them 9 months to a year, and he just tore his, and I want to say like last April or something like that, March, April. So he's around that time, but I didn't think he would do that. I am. We have seen somebody like Jason Tatum start working. He getting clearance to do basketball activities, and he's trying to cut and weave his way to the basket, which scares the hell out of me because you know I know a lot of people say that it's just a physical thing, but something has to go on in your mind just because you worry about if you cut wrong, will it pop? Will your ACL pop? Or if you land wrong, how is it going to feel? Or somebody bump you the wrong way? All of that is, a lot of these physical injuries can take a toll on your mind. So if you're not prepared for it, it may take you longer because you may be afraid to do so. When I'm thinking about it, I think about when Aaron Rodgers came back and he was so afraid he was going to get crushed that he didn't want to move out the pocket. He just wanted to stand there and throw. But as the season went along for him, he started to get himself better. This was a couple of years ago when he was with the Jets. But that's a different thing because you got to take the snap, you got to plant, you got to throw, and all of those other things. It's the same thing with basketball. You got to plant, you got to plant your feet and jump and do all of those things. So, but normally it takes about a year or so for the injury, but it may take a little bit longer for the actual thought or the mentality of I'm gonna be okay if I just do what I normally do. But it's different strokes for different folks. So the fact that Damian Lillard won that, and it was very shocking to me. Uh, the skill what was that? The skill teams. I did say that the Knicks was going to win, and they did win. You know, when you got professional players, right? Like a lot of the guys. Well, shout out first off, shout out to Ron Harper and his sons. He got to participate with his sons. I watched that just for the sole purpose of watching that, and they had fun. You know what I mean? They had fun. They was making their little jump shots. They didn't make no half court shots or nothing like that. But the fact that it has to be a real pleasure. Like when you think about what LeBron was planning to do with his son, Bronny James. You know what I mean? That's something like that's what he should be planning. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this skill shooting team. Me, Bronny, and Bryce. If Bryce comes out or whatever the case may be, or a Laker team, whatever have you. Right? That's something that you would want to remember. That's something that you would want on film. You already made history, the first father son duo to play in an actual game at the same time. Big props, big shout out. But I think if you go into a exhibition or something like that, I think Bronny would have been looser to participate in something like that. You know what I mean? It'd just be fun. All right, we shoot half court all the time. You know what I mean? Things like that. But for Ron Harper and his sons, I think they had a blast. They didn't advance to the next. They didn't advance to the next round or the final round or anything like that. But they had fun, and we also seen his sons in the rookie sophomore game, and they went up against each other. The oldest son took the last shot and beat the younger son and gave his team a win. But those are the things that you really want to accomplish when you have your children and a thing like that. Ron Harper's he's old school, so he probably ain't played since Kobe and Shaq 2003. He probably ain't been on the NBA court since then. So, but it was a. I watched it for that, but the Knicks they did what they had to do. Allen Houston made a couple shots. Cat made a couple shots. Jalen Brunson, and they went up. They went up and did what they had to do. They played the what was it? Scott. I almost said Scotty Brooks. The team they beat by 10 points because they made a couple of 7 point shots from the half court. The shots were varied: one, two, three, four, and seven. So good win for them. Now the slam dunk contest, I was disappointed about. I was disappointed because there was two for me. I was calling the kid K Shaw Johnson. I was calling him Dougie because all he wanted to do was dance after the little dunk he did. He wanted to dance. Uh, what was his kid named? Kalen Bryant, Kobe. That wasn't Kobe Bryant. Something Bryant on from the Spurs. He had an opportunity to win it because he got a 50, and then he just missed his last dunks, and then just made a little simple dunk, and that's how he lost the title. But even in those type of situations, we need somebody that's going, ooh and ah the crowd, right? You had Jackson Hayes. Nah, that's not it, right? Then you got Jace Richards. I thought Jace Richardson, Jace Richardson is uh his dad was a former slam dunk contest winner from the Golden State Warriors. Richardson, I forgot his first name. Jason Richardson. So I'm thinking he did a nice little dunk, but then he just fizzled out. But the problem with the slam dunk contest is you gotta have that pizzazz. You gotta have that ooh and ah. That's why the kid Matt McClung, who was in the G League, he won three in a row because he was coming in and doing things that it wowed people. But I guess he didn't want to defend his title. He did win three in a row. I mean, I guess, or maybe they told him not to show up. But that was like the poorest part of the night for the Saturday night was that actual event. But Kishard, excuse me, congratulations on your win. But it just didn't move for me. Now we go into Sunday. We see Sunday they had the NBA Stars, the NBA Stripes, and the NBA World. They took this idea from the hockey perspective. They had their All Stars, the USA versus the World, and so they implemented that. Now this consists of a one 12 minute period, and whoever had the most points win. Now the Stars in the World was very competitive. Matter of fact, the Stars in the World went to a extra few minutes. The goal in the overtime or the extra minutes of play was that you got to score 5 points. The World hit a two. No, the Stars hit a two. The World hit a three, and then the Stars hit a three to end the game. So it was like 47-45. That's how they won the game. And then the Stars and Stripes played. The Stripes consist of the older people like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and them. They ran them. Kawhi Leonard had a good. He scored about 17 points in 12 minutes. Well, he scored 31 in the whole 12 minutes. But he came and gave them a boost, and the old guns beat the young guns. Then the old guns beat the World. So the World didn't win nothing. And then the Stars and the Stripes came out and played. The Stripes got worn out. And that's when the Stars whooped them. Anthony Edwards put on a show. It was very competitive until that last game. So I think the final score was 47-21. So when you look at things like that, you saw the competitiveness because it's only one quarter. We give it they all, whatever have you. Key side note: people like Giannis didn't play, Shea Gilgeous Alexander didn't play, Steph Curry didn't play. Uh, so you know, but it was still competitive, right? Uh, you can't ask for nothing but something to be competitive and make it look like you care. And I think that 12-minute segments made it look like they cared. I mean, in the beginning, like the first few minutes, they act like they was running up and down the court, laying it up, shooting threes and things like that. But like the last half of the 6 minute mark, they began to, turn it up a little bit, play a little bit of defense, hands in the face. Where Victor Wembanyama was over there blocking people, pinning people shots to the backboard, excuse me, things like that. So they may have something going into next year. Uh, they'll probably keep the format because uh, like I said, it was competitive enough for everybody to come through and just for 12 minutes and make it look like something. It's like I said, except for that last game, the young guns just took off on them. They started running on them. LeBron was tired. They don't play games like that no more. That's what we do in the pick. That's what you do in the parks and the gymnasiums. We're gonna play. We're gonna keep running. We're gonna keep playing till they're not built for that no more. And I think that's a problem that these guys have now. They're not built to play like a marathon games. You know what I mean? Like most of us is used to playing 11, 16, and just keep going. We stop, get a drink. All right, who's next? Things like that. These guys are conditioned. All right, we're going to play this amount of minutes. Then we're going to take the day off and things like that. They're not conditioned to just play back to back to back games. So that might have hurt the old guns. But, when you in your early 20s, like an Anthony Edwards and people like that, Scotty Barnes, and Tyrese Maxey and those guys, they'll run up and down the court all day. So I think that benefited them. But the competitiveness was there for the most part. They may hang on to this idea next year. But Thursday is going to be when the NBA season starts back up. And then, there'll probably be what, like maybe 25 to 30 games left, maybe if that 25 to 28 games. I think a lot of teams played like 55 games already in an 82 game season. So this is the time where it's going to rev up. People want to start trying to get their position solidified. That nobody wants to play in the in tournament. That's the 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds. They get to play each other to see who's going to represent the 7 and 8 seeds, things like that. 1 through 6, they get a couple of days rest. But playing in that 7, 8, 9, 10 position, it could be a lot. And then the winners will play. If you're the 8 seed, you play the number 1 seed, and if you're the 7 seed, you play the number 2 seed. So that's what a lot of these guys are gearing up for as far as heading towards the NBA postseason, which will start in April, which also means in in a few weeks we'll probably be talking about the Final Four, the field of 68 in the college basketball realm, both men and women. But we know the men starts in the middle of March. I think the ladies go a little bit earlier, maybe a week or so earlier. So there's a lot of basketball that's about to pick up, and hockey's getting ready to come back as they are coming back from the Winter Olympics, which is almost over. Give them about another week or so. They'll be finishing up Sunday, I think. So in totality, but hockey will be back soon. So as you see, all of these sports is coming in at the same time. But like I told you guys Friday, it's going to be a quiet week as far as sports because there was no sports really happening. We had the All Star break, hockey break is still happening. Uh, you know, baseball is getting ready to get their pitchers and catchers down in the Cactus League in Arizona and down in Florida. So baseball is about to start picking up as they're about maybe a month and a half away from playing baseball. So as you can see, all of these things is happening. We got the NFL draft happening in April. Hopefully, my 33 brother and I, we can get this thing together. We'll have the fantasy league ready in August. So we're just rocking and rolling. Whatever sports is out here, we'll talk about it. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about it. This is, you know, and then like me personally, like I said, I got to start revving up. So as far as like giving basketball games and stuff like that, doing games and calling games and stuff like that. But the problem for me is that it would really be it, it would really be bad if I call a game and they lose by 30. Like I don't know if people have been paying attention. Like there's been teams losing by 50 points, and you think that game is going to be competitive, and then it's not competitive at all. And I don't want, I don't want you guys to sit there and just listen to that, and then it makes you disinterested. It makes me, not want to do it because I can't seem to get the right game to call with the excitement and stuff like that. But as I'm growing the channel, I'm trying to make it seem, I'm trying to show that all sports can be called. Like I've called football games already. Uh, and they was pretty good and they was close. And even if I came on at my normal time and on a Sunday night, they was still playing in overtime, or a Monday night, even when I'm doing something like a Raw segment or a wrestling segment, I call a game just to finish it out. You know what I'm saying? So just to show that this is a sports channel in totality. Just because we start off talking about wrestling, we might turn around and talk about the WNBA, or you know, we'll talk about the NHL, or we'll talk about Wimbledon or something like that. Whatever sport it comes to mind, and we start talking, we talk. So but we got more things coming up for you guys. Um, but as far as the regular routines, we still coming on Monday, we still coming on Friday. Uh, Sunday they starting to do NBA games at night. I may pick up a night game, just to pick up a game here and there on a Sunday. Maybe during the middle of the week, call a game. You know, call a Pacific Coast game because a lot of us live on the East Coast, and then it'll take us to the nighttime, early morning type situation. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people don't get to know about what the Lakers are doing, or what Golden State is doing, or what the San Antonio Spurs are doing, and things like that. We get, like, a lot of us live on the East Coast, so we know about what the Charlotte Hornets is doing, or the Atlanta Hawks, or the Orlando Magic, the Knicks, and the teams that's on the East Coast, Chicago, Detroit. We know what they're doing because we'll have that result by 9 o'clock. But there'll be night games that's happening that we can talk about, just to get the Channel 9 family going, and then lead y'all to another conversation. As far as sports, and maybe if there's a blowout, we'll just talk about some other things. But right now, I'm just worried about the blowout situation and just people getting disinterested. So I'll take the responsibility for that. So I hold myself accountable because I want this channel to grow. And I got to figure out ways to get the right games on for you guys to listen to, keep the stats on the board, on the screen, so that way you seeing what I'm seeing as far as the scores and stuff like that, and give you highlights and stuff. Well, not highlights, but give you recaps on other games that's going on in the NBA, like I would, on a Sunday night recap. We go around, take scores, and look at the stats of certain teams, and then the teams. We look at all the stats, but we look at certain stats because some of these guys was heading towards the playoffs and some wasn't. So we go about it that way. So that's what I'm going to do as far as the basketball side. But that's just the gist of everything. I don't know if my 33 brothers coming on tonight, but you know, I guess that was pretty much the night, right? We did everything we had to do as far as the recap. We spoke about Friday Night SmackDown. We spoke about the All Star game, and like I said, it was a very light week in sports. Um, we know, you know, the NFL. They got, like I already talked. We spoke about all the coaches being hired. We waiting to see what this draft is looking like. Are they going to, are the top teams will the Raiders draft a kid from Indiana? Or are they going to trade the picks? Who's going to trade up? Who's going to trade down? We'll have all those conversations in April. Um, because I'm just interested to see what happened. Oh, that's what happened today. So we found out from the NFL that Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, they got cut from the Miami Dolphins. See, I knew it was something. I was just talking. Um, Both of them was injured for. Well, we know Tyreek Hill had a bad injury in the season, but Bradley Chubb didn't play all of the season because he tore his ACL. So the Dolphins cut both of them, so they'll be free agents. it's interesting to see what Tyreek Hill does now because he's 31. He's coming off of the Achilles. Now, I know a lot of people will probably say, you know what, he gonna go over there to Kansas City. It wouldn't be a bad thing for him, right? Because he's familiar with everybody over there. They just got Eric Bieniemy back. Uh, if he does go back there, I think it'll give Travis Kelsey a reason to come back. Uh, but we have to remember that Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL at the end of the year. So we don't know his timetable. They saying 9 to 12 months for him. So he may be ready in September. But y'all know how this game y'all know how that game is. If you ain't training as far as preseason and testing the leg and I don't care how much practice you do, it's not the same as game time ready. Because game time ready, ain't nobody care. The other team ain't caring if you tore your ACL. They trying to take you down. And when you are that guy, as Patrick Mahomes is, they trying to air him out anyway. So, it's going to be hard for him to get himself ready. But that will be an interesting place for him to go because he won the Super Bowl there. You know, so I wouldn't be shocked if he makes the attempt to go back there. I think all is forgiven with as far as him and his decision to go to Miami in the first place. Because Miami is rebuilding. Let's just be honest. They getting rid of all the dead money that they possibly can. This is why they cut Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. So it's going to be interesting. Bradley Chubb, if he could come back a percentage of himself, he can go somewhere and be relevant. Like if he goes to somebody like, well, damn, because I was gonna say the Packers, but I just remember Michael's on. He's on. They got the same type of injury, so it wouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? They both be coming back, but it all depends on the fitness and the conditioning of the athlete that's coming back from the ACL, which is like I said, it's going to be interesting. But now you're going to start seeing big names cut and things like that because the March 1st deadline is coming and they're probably going to be guaranteeing some money. But we'll keep you all updated for that. But that was just like something that broke news today because Miami cut two people at one time on the same day. So we'll keep our ears to the NFL streets, so to speak, and whatever we get, we'll give it to you guys as well. But but that, like I said, that's just the gist of it. I spoke about different sports already: basketball, football, entertainment, wrestling. I ain't gonna go into the to other things because we talking about sports. I ain't, we talking about sports and entertainment. I ain't talking about no nothing else but that. I'm gonna leave that right where it's at. But I appreciate everybody coming through. Um, from the Channel 9 studio. This is Mr. 33 signing off. I will be back Friday to give you some more information or find out what happened on SmackDown, and NBA will be back. So we will be talking about the NBA and where they're picking up from. So we'll be back Friday. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Appreciate Word. I appreciate Chelsea Lynn stopping by. Willis, Rotier 101, Caleb, happy birthday. It's past 12 o'clock. So I appreciate you. Happy birthday. Thanks for stopping by. And Baseball Drayton 6. I appreciate everybody stopping by. So this is Mr. 33 signing off from the Channel 9 studio once again. I'll see you guys Friday.